Now, alongside my panel this week, we are also joined by the chef and food writer Lara Lee. Lara is known for her book Coconut and Sambal Recipes from My Indonesian Kitchen. Lara, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Jay.
A pleasure. Now, first of all, tell us a bit about how you got into cooking and writing your book.
I think I've got a story that might resonate with a lot of second-generation immigrants because my dad is from Indonesia, but I grew up in Sydney. And, for the first 20 years of my life, we were too poor as a family to visit Indonesia. So, my grandmother lived with us when we were little and she would cook Indonesian food. And for me, that was my only link into that part of my heritage. Writing Coconut and Sambal was, for me, a very personal project that I wanted to do for me, but as a result of that, which makes me very, very proud, I think a lot of people have been able to be transported to Indonesia through its pages and come with me on that journey of discovery.
Where did the name for the book come from?
Indonesia is a very diverse country. There are 17,500 islands, of which 6,000 are populated. So when you think about what unifies the country from a cuisine standpoint, it was very, very difficult to select particular dishes or ingredients that might unify the country. But what I did find as I travelled across the islands researching the book was that on every table, no matter where you travelled, was sambal, which is a chili condiment that is eaten with every meal. Now, it's quite spicy, but it's meant to really complement the food as opposed to overpower it. So you eat a little bit of sambal with every bite of food. And a lot of Indonesians say that a meal is not complete without sambals. And there are different regional sambals depending on where you travel. But I really feel like that was one of the few kind of condiments or elements of Indonesian cookery that really did unify this very diverse country. And as far as the coconut goes, the coconut palm tree grows in nearly every part of Indonesia. And Indonesians have very much a no waste philosophy. So, the sap and nectar harvested from the coconut flowers becomes coconut sugar. The shells of the coconut become utensils. Even the discarded shredded coconut after it's used in cooking is used to scrub stains of tiles and floors. So again, that was another element of Indonesian cookery that, is quite romantic and beautiful in many ways, that it is used in every single part.
Lara, you've mentioned missing recipes from home. Was there something in particular you were wishing you could make?
Yeah, so one of the recipes that really, I think, sum up my half Indonesian, half Australian heritage was chicken satay. And the reason for that is my grandmother would marinate chicken thighs in a beautiful ketchup mayonnaise and lime zest kind of marinade. She'd make a gorgeous peanut sauce from scratch. So that means you deep fry the peanuts and you mix it with ketchup mayonnaise, a fermented sweet soy sauce, chilies, garlic, a bit of shallot. And then my dad would take it to the barbecue outside in the backyard and then cook it over hot coals. Meanwhile, my grandmother would make an achar pickle, which is vinegary, a little bit sweet and salty with, chilies, carrots, cucumbers. And that together as a combination, for me, sums up my childhood.
At this moment, I now want to be part of your family.
Me too.
For our listeners wanting to give something a go at home, what would be a good starting point? What would be a good starting recipe?
Well, I think for me, fried rice, known as nasi goreng, is the way to go. So we'd always make more rice than we needed. And with the leftover rice, you can make nasi goreng so easily. It's a 30-minute meal, but it is very smoky and aromatic because it often uses ketchup mayonnaise as a seasoning, that fermented sweet soy sauce. My version has soy sauce and fish sauce to flavour it, but it also has the fragrance of ginger and garlic and shallots. You eat it with a fried egg on top that's crispy on the edges, and you serve it with prawn or tapioca crackers on the side. So you've got this textural, sensory, kind of all-in-one dish that you can make on a Tuesday night or for a special occasion.
Let's take a question. This one was sent in by Anna Ash, who says, "What should I do with leftover coconut milk? It doesn't last long in a jar in the fridge." I don't think I've ever had leftover coconut milk in my house, but Nisha.
Immediately I go to korma in my head. And it's in fact that whole realm of those creamy looking curries that you might call a Kashmiri or whatever it is. Very, very simple. Onion, ginger, garlic, that's the way you kickstart any of these slightly meaty curries. So this is going to be a chicken korma, chicken perhaps and pineapple korma. So onion, ginger, garlic, you add your diced chicken in, and then it's so simple. It's turmeric a little bit of chili powder, and garam masala, which is the meat curry spice. So just go in heavy with the garam masala, about a tablespoon of that. And then as that's cooked down, you very simply add your coconut milk that you have left over and a bit of yogurt. Sweeten it. Always think about that. A little bit of sweet, a little bit of salt for the seasoning. That's how we do it in India. And then just pineapple in whatever tinned form with the juices. And it just gives you that additional sweetness. You could put, bought or formed meatballs into that. Absolutely delicious. But there you go. That's something you can freeze. That's something that just makes coconut milk eternally giving. So it's a great recipe.
Lara, if you've got leftover coconut milk, what would you do with it?
Coconut milk, no churn ice cream is for me the way to go. So the ratio is 2 parts coconut milk, 3 parts double cream whipped to stiff peaks, 4 parts condensed milk. Now, those are the ingredients. Now, if you have time and you've got desiccated coconut in the drawers, then I would toast that off as well and throw that in, pop it in an airtight container. Now, the key here is something not to forget. You have to do something called close cover. So you pop a little layer of cling film over the top and that will prevent it from getting icy. Then you pop it in the freezer for 4 to 6 hours and bingo, you've got dessert and it is delicious and it will be gone in 60 seconds.
Well, the rest of the panel are now going to have to follow that because I'm mentally calculating which of these ingredients I can get and how quickly. Anna, your turn.
A friend's mom who's Gujarati makes this green chili chutney, which I literally cannot get enough of. It's really simple. It's just an enormous kind of bunch of coriander, stalks and all, about half the amount of mint, because mint is obviously a bit of a stronger flavoured herb, lots and lots of green chilies. So, for a big bunch of coriander, I'd put 2 or 3 in. My friend's mom would put way more, but she's tougher than me with the green chili. And then a little bit of sweetness, so it could be a drop of honey, a bit of sugar, and then just a couple of tablespoons of your leftover coconut milk, which will bind it, and it creates this quite loose but delicious green chili chutney that can go next to curries, but it's also just great for kind of dipping crisps in and stuff. Another thing would be baking. Coconut milk actually really acts quite a lot like whole milk because it's got such a high fat content. So, if you were even making things like scones or any baking recipe that requires milk, if you just had a little bit, it would work. You could replace the whole milk with that really easily.
Tim Haywood, any ideas for coconut milk?
Oh, just a couple of quickies. It works marvellously as a substitute for cream in any recipe of cream and chicken soup. The other thing is, if I've got any lying around, it usually goes into the rice cooker.
Great idea. I was going to say coconut rice. Yes, and actually, to make perfect coconut rice, you need to have half water and half coconut milk. Little bit, half teaspoon of sugar, pinch of sugar and half teaspoon of salt. And then you've got really lovely coconut rice. Agreed, Tim.
I've always used more water because I'm a bit scared of sort of burning into the rice cooker. But actually, if you say I can get more in, that's probably the best thing. I'll try and jack up the coconut a bit more next time.
Hang on, when you talk about burning into the rice cooker, don't you live for the crunchy bits that you get at the bottom of the rice cooker, or is that just me?
They are prized in many cultures, yes.
Indeed they are. Lara Lee, thank you so much for joining
pleasure.
us.
Thank you. It was an honour.
You're listening.